So yeah, I'm just uploading this to the cloud. All good. And we're going live in just a minute. So give me just 1 second. Just one. Oh, more people joining. Yeah. Okay, guys. So yeah, we're about to go live. Okay, we're going live. Oh, Miss Winnie. So yeah, a lot of like we have more people joining. So yeah, I'm just gonna make sure that we are like live. Um, okay, cool. So we should be okay, yeah, guys, we're live. So, welcome everybody for tonight's roundtable. Today we have a really interesting topic. Today we're gonna be talking about Team Tent versus Team No Tent, and also how to book larger event using tent rentals. And we're also gonna be talking about tents pros and cons. So, yeah, before this, I was talking with Tariq's office manager, Soel. I think everybody knows her in this room. And well, Soel was telling me that she's really Team Tent. Because like the tents are something that you can rent throughout all the year. Um, Tents is always like a really cool option. It's a really cool add-on as well. And if you had tents, of course you should have as well like tents, tables, and chairs. So you have like the whole package, and you can really upgrade clients with that. And yeah, she was telling me a little bit of the pros and cons that tents have. So I would love to hear your ideas. Who's in here like team tent and who's not a team tent? Who has any tents on their inventory and who decides like, yeah, it's not like that a good idea. I can see that Livonia raised a hand, so I think he's like team tent. I think the tents are like really cool. Uh and I also feel like it's really easy like to rent them like for a lot of events. And I feel like they open the room like to like different types of events, like maybe weddings, churches, yeah. Team tent, I have 15. Damn. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your whole army? Wow, 15 tents. That's crazy.
But I go old school with tents as far as we do pole setups, and we've had single piece 40 by 60s that we have ordered for different customers in their colors. That tent, we are the ones that set it up just for them. And I've got a lot of clients that they own the tents, and I'm just their tent guy.
Okay.
I'm an independent contractor for tents. Um, with the tents, you can get bigger events because they want the shade and they love the everybody turnkey rental.
Yeah.
A 20 by 20 tent right now, if you buy it from Tent and Table, I think it's $2,200. It may be even be cheaper. They run sales all the time. IAPA's coming up. Buy one at IAPA, they'll be $1,800.
Oh,
Um, but you can rent that tent out for $500 for the weekend, and the insurance is cheaper. You're able to rent them. It's for the weekend, and your wear and tear on them is less than an inflatable because the kids aren't getting on them. Greater ROI, less space. Well, the pose they take up similar amount of space, but they're easier maintenance, longer
mhm.
rentals, and better revenue, I believe, than inflatables because they do rent year round. Like they're not like a water slide. You're renting a tent all year round. We rent them with heaters and we rent them with air conditioners.
Yeah. Yeah, like that was actually something that I was talking with Soel. Um, that yeah, like tents you can rent them throughout all the year, and like, well, they are in Tariq is in Chicago, So like winter for him, like it's not like the best time to rent out a water slide. Um, yeah, like no one rents a water slide in Chicago during like winter, but they do tent rents. They do rent tents. Um, but yeah, also like Sol was telling me a little bit about the something that she didn't like about tents is that they're like a little bit more difficult like to install than a bounce house. That you need like I guess she said like two people to do like a 20 by 20. Um, and yeah, and that you really need to know how to install a tent, and also like you need to really train your team properly on that. So who else can relate on this? Who also thinks that like tents are like really cool, but they are also a little bit complicated to set up.
Yeah, Rick, you're definitely right. My mentor was telling me about it, and like he was just telling me like just try and focus on like, your combos, your water slide, obviously not in the winter, but your combos, water slides, and your just regular, you know, bounce houses because it's a whole nother beast of stuff that he's telling me that like, he told me just to master one, not master, but get really good at this and then try doing all those other things. And I thought about it too, and I was like, yeah, man, I want to do this, I want to do that. It's like, yeah, let's let's crawl before
Yeah, no,
gotta
like
crawl before you walk, kid.
yeah, no, like yeah, like she was telling me that it's like a whole new world, that it's totally different, but that it's really worth it. That it's difficult, but it pays back. And we have Aaron in here that can relate. Now he has 15.
Mm.
So yeah, Nick, how many tens do you have?
I
And
have
we
none. I thought
Oh, okay. So your
none,
mentor
no
he told
10.
you like, hey, like it's difficult, but are you planning on getting some?
I would
Uh,
recommend buying you a 20 by 20 weekender tent from similar from Tent Table, Centura, the tent manufacturers, Bounce Waves. There's a bunch of different manufacturers that have got them. A 20 by 20 weekender tent is a pole tent. It's got one center pole, and that's a one man setup. One person can do that.
Aaron, is
But
it pop up or is it
it is a pole tent. You drive your four corners,
okay?
then you set your center pole, and then you've got your side poles after you do your center pole.
Okay.
But it's not but eight poles, like, and you can get the poles that they come apart in the center, and like even the center poles are the pins like you would have that slide together. Like it's compact. That's called
Yeah.
it's weekender package, and there's times you can get it for less than around $1,000, and you can set it up, and then you gives you an idea of what a pose hen is, but it's something that doesn't take up a lot of space. That way, it's something if you it's no more space than an inflatable in the bag, everything together. It's no more space in a bounce house.
Oh,
But
Aaron, my talking about 20 by 20s and everything, my 10 by 20 shed is just done for, man. Oh, it's so stuffed. And I don't even I got a new, not a new, but an Indian motorcycle, Indian Scout Road, because I used to ride before in the summertime. Not since I
where
have
are you out of?
I'm New Jersey, man.
Mm, well,
Yeah. Oh,
I don't.
another thing about that sucks about New Jersey. I was on the thing with like the Tariq thing after this, the round table and everything, and like, yeah, I looked it up. It's 5 grand for 1 month for this Christmas light thing.
Yeah,
Oh man. Oh, I'm
eh,
good on that.
it could be because it could be Christmas light, and we're going to get a little off kilter here. The Christmas lights, but you could get into the holiday lighting, and it's year round. Like around here, we've got people that set up in for Halloween, Thanksgiving, those are different color lights and everything. St. Patrick's Day parties, like
Valentine's Day, they got out there with their pink and red lights, Easter bunny colors. Yeah, they like to set it up for every holiday.
so that's something that would be separate from your inflatables and your party,
Yeah,
but it's something that could be year round to get you footholds in other doors with other business. Your
yeah.
businesses
I
work off
I
of each
feel
other.
like I'm just doing too much because I already do the doors for the Home Depot. But the bounce house thing, I'm not getting festivals or anything. Maybe if I do have that, the tent, maybe I'll be a little bit more busy. But yeah, things are like dying down. But yeah, no, once I saw that tag, I got way too much going
But
on.
that 5 grand is high. I mean that tag there's a lot of
I'm
things.
paying like three for my what who is it? XO
There's all
3,500 I think for the year with my bounce house party rental business. I'm like, bro, five. I'm like, you know what? And then I'm literally in the mix of trying to renovate my house.
mm,
Uh, yeah,
just a lot of
man.
just a lot going on.
Yeah, wife just quit her job today. Yeah, I told her to. I'm like, they were integrity. Yeah, but I don't want. I'm not gonna go off on a tangent. I'm gonna let you guys. I'm gonna mute myself because I got so much on my mind. So I'm gonna just mute
But
myself
yeah,
and let you guys go.
we
Hey, here we have like some things in the chat. First, we have Ed that he has a question when free. Ed, are you still around? So, oh yeah, you're still here. So what's your question, man? How can we help?
All right, I'm sorry. First off, how you guys doing? I have reached out a few times to you
Oh,
guys,
good. Thank you
but
so much for asking. What about yourself?
I apologize first because I should have been on here a long time ago, but I've been a little tied up. Get straight to the point. My wife actually purchased a bouncy house business from another person that we do know, and we have had it now for about a year and a half. The thing is, things have gotten a little slow. We are actually kind of tied up with other things as well, so we're not as busy as we thought we would this summer. Um, the
Mm.
thing is, man, we don't know what we really want to do. We have a total of 8 bouncy house. I think 6 of them are 13 by 13, really nice in different colors. And then we have two very big ones. Um, the thing is, man, I don't know. Should we keep the business, or do you guys know anybody who might be interested in buying, or how do we go about selling if we want to just downgrade and get, for the business and kind of get rid of some things? Like, what would be maybe a suggestion?
What state
what
are you
area you in?
in?
So right now we actually currently reside in South Carolina, but we're right on the border. So I guess right there in
Man,
Raleigh, North Carolina.
you gotta push
What
those bounce
I'm
houses
I'm
and get
sorry,
some
excuse
money.
me, Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm sorry.
your best bet and you're gonna laugh at me with a business running in a year and a half.
Yes.
Find find one of your churches that have rented from you and make them a donation with it. With if you're just trying to get rid of one unit but trying to sell multiple, your best bet is just there's a Facebook website or one of the groups used inflatables for sale, and you put them on there, and people from all over the country. It's a resource you can go to. There may be 13 by 13 bouncers.
Time out for a second. Yes. I think 6 of them are 13 by 13, and then the other two.
No, one is 19.
Excuse me. One is 19 by.
18.
I think that I think that for this, you can post it on the Bounce House Bosses group, and with that, like a lot
Yeah.
of people can see it in there. And we're gonna find like, yeah, I think someone is gonna be like interested in.
Okay, so like you just said, just kind of take pictures of it and post it to you guys' website or the Facebook site.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, like try to post it on the Bounce House Bosses group, and let's see if
Because
someone wants to get something.
They're really
And,
nice. Pastel color. They're like more pastel, so they're seasonals. So we have a color for every season, pretty much.
and with the downside to this business is, what with your inflatables, anybody buying them should want them to see them blowed up and not just pictures.
Gotcha. So we have decided that we will have to pretty much kind of do that, but we haven't just had a chance. I mean, that's just what it has been. We keep saying we want to downsize. We keep saying we want to just keep them, but I think it's probably beneficial for us to downsize for this time being. So I understand that we do have to blow them up. So even if we post them to the website, would they just need to be seen blown up?
A lot of times you can get good deals on marketplace, like depending on the 13 by 13 bounce house. Do you know the manufacturer?
That I do not.
Mm.
And that's something people are going to want to know, because a lot of people aren't brand loyal, but they've got to meet certain standards. For like me, and I'm in Kentucky, we've
Gotcha.
got to be we've got to be inspected, so it's got to have certain requirements. Where in other, there's a couple of states that don't have inspectors that don't get inspected.
Okay, understand.
So
Yeah, but you're gonna go on.
with having used units, it's always a leery thing of a business buying a used unit. Sometimes you can get blessed with a good deal, but a lot of times people would rather go buy from the manufacturer because it comes with that manufacturer warranty and everything else on it. Like, you're supposed to keep a record of every time you do anything to an inflatable. If we set it up to clean it, you're supposed to have a record with every
Yep.
inflatable of every time it goes up, just like a maintenance record for a car. You changed the oil,
Mm.
so you set it up and cleaned it on this day. You're supposed to document that.
Well, that's good news. I'm glad you said that, but we haven't
Yeah,
had
these
any
units
that.
have serial numbers too. And yeah, they're gonna want it blown up. You're gonna have to blow all of them up and get
Gotcha.
serial numbers. And yeah, the manufacturers, because
Hmm.
that's the question I would ask. Anytime I buy a used unit, I want to know all these wear and tear, and you got to look at it, make sure it's
It'll
all
give you a
good,
it'll
because
give
they
you a
want to
date.
know how old they are.
Yep,
Gotcha.
date of manufacturer, how, when it was it made.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what I've noticed, because I've gotten a couple of used units, a lot of people don't even know that information or they don't keep up with it.
Well,
But
we
the pretty cool thing is, at least, we have the internet. And what I've done with a lot of the used units that I have purchased, I reverse Google search the image and I try to see if I can find the inflatable through the manufacturer's website. Oftentimes, I have been able to. However, there are two units which are the first ones that I purchased. I when I got in here into the business, I purchased one. Well, no, shoot, it's three. So three of them. I purchased four. Out of those four, I only have the manufacturer information of one, and that's because it's with Happy Jump, and they actually have like the little month and everything of when it was manufactured. Right. With all the other ones, I still haven't been able to find those. With
Well,
Mm.
more recently, yes, the like pretty much moving forward from that was when I decided, if I don't have manufacturer's information, I'm not purchasing them anymore, because
and
I don't have any details about who made them, what, when were they made, how old are they, anything like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially for
some
insurance reasons and whatnot
Exactly,
too.
exactly.
Yeah, they want all that information, and you have to get like the owner of those units have to release it. Like you have to email now the manufacturer on the manufacturer side and get that unit like name like put to your name too. And
yep,
if you were, but like, and think about it too. I thought about like giving up, but like after I blew up all the units, it's like, well, it's wintertime. You may be able to even make some money in the interim while you're selling your units. Just saying, you have pictures. I've seen people double post it where they have it for sale and also they're still renting it out. Hey,
yep.
that's something.
make some money off your time even blowing this thing up. They weigh 200 pounds. The bounce houses. You're blowing it up, taking nice fancy pictures of it to sell it. Might as well rent it.
That's true.
Well, guys, with this being said, let's go a little bit back to the topic. I can see
Well,
here that the bouncer guy, he was telling us that he just started with a 10 by 20 pop-up canopy and they're renting like crazy. Bouncer guy, do you want to tell us something a little bit about this? Has been your experience with the tents? All good? Well, I can see that they're renting like crazy, but what have you been doing like that they have been renting like this good? Maybe you have been reaching out to churches, schools, you have been making some upgrades with your bounce houses. How did that work?
What was the question again, Rick? Sorry.
Um,
uh,
So
Somebody posted in the
like
chat.
tonight's topic, it's like team 10th versus team no 10th. And here we have like a comment in the chat saying like that he just started with a 10 by 20 pop-up canopy and it's renting like crazy. So like yeah, I wanted to know a little bit more about that. Or maybe you, Rosalie, how has been your experience with tents? Do you recommend like start like to include tents in your inventory?
Well, see, maybe I have the wrong products because my tents hardly go out, unfortunately. I have a 20 by 32 tent, and then I have a 10 by 20 pop up, which I just purchased. And then I have what is it, a 29 by 21 rounded tent. Surprisingly enough, the rounded tent has been the one that has rented out the most. This year, however, I haven't rented them out at all. Last year, the most asked for was the rounded one. And honestly, the only reason why it was asked for the most is because of the aesthetics that it gives. With it being rounded, it gives more of a classy setting in it, and
Mhm.
it looks prettier. You know, it honestly looks prettier than if it were just a regular rectangular tent, you know. But what I have noticed, the people who have reached out about tents, they ask me the most for a 10 by 20 and I mean a 20 by 20 and a 20 by 40. So I did comment earlier when you guys were mentioning the tents, and I
Mhm.
said that if you're gonna get any, get the 20 by 20s, and I would recommend getting two of them because at least with a 20 by 20, you can turn it into a 20 by 40, right?
Yes.
Um,
And that's the high peak. Now that's the high peak frame tent. You can't do pole
Yes,
tents
it
that
has to
way.
be the high peak. Yes, the high peak is the one that is the most asked for. I don't know why, but it is. The high peak is what most people ask for. But
can that be a
unfortunately for
strong
me,
man and a suitably, decently strong woman, or
I mean,
not?
well,
Not
I've
discussing
done
my
the 20,
employees, but
I've done the 20 by 32, all of the tents I've done with my husband, just the two of us.
mm,
I weigh what, maybe I when I'm bloated and I'm fat and I ate a buffet, like 140 something, 150 maybe.
he can do
But
it then. Let's do it.
eh, yeah, and I mean I
I'll
have
find it.
Graves' disease and hyperthyroidism. So, you know, my metabolism, my everything moves a lot faster. So when I'm out in the heat and I'm doing all of this, I have to be very, very hydrated and I have to kind of take my breaks here and there. But essentially, if I can just focus on my breathing and I can control the breathing, it doesn't make me out of breath so much. So if I can do it, if you have a wife, you and your wife can do it.
Yep. All right. I'll
Yeah. So
I'll run
definitely
it by the mentor again. Maybe next year. Maybe next year he thinks I'm ready. Maybe. We'll
maybe,
see.
maybe, but definitely, if it's something that you're kind of weary about, I would honestly start off with the pop up tents because, and if
Yes.
especially if you're just one person, if you're one person short, two-person short, whatever, if it's just you, you're better off with a pop up tent. They are
Yep.
going to be a little bit more expensive if you're going to go commercial. Tariq has mentioned before, there's a couple of them on Amazon that are pretty decent, at least for
A
you to make your money back, probably about
B
100 to
C
200. I'm sorry, Aaron?
ABC canopy.
And
Is
I've actually seen the ones from I think it's called Your Max. Those are the
okay.
ones that I've seen, and I have the rounded tent. That one is from Your Max. And I'm not gonna lie, I like it because of the material. It is very water resistant. Um, it holds a lot of water up top without ripping through or draining, like any leakage or anything. But personally, for me, your Max wins it. For something that's a little bit more on the cheaper side. Um,
Okay.
but
That
like I said, if you're wanting to give it a try, I would do maybe a 10 by 30, get a couple of 10 by 30s, because you maybe two 10 by 30s, you can turn it into a 20 by 30. As long as you can play around with them and you can make them a little bit more
What
spacious.
what was the name of it? We got ABC Canopy, and what was the other one? I gotta write it down.
The cheaper one would be the Urmax. It's I believe it's EURMAX. You might hear people call it Euromax, but it's actually Urmax.
Okay. All
So
right.
not
All
with
right.
the O.
I'm probably not gonna do cheap, but hey, at least I'll weigh my options and then run it by the mentor. He's probably gonna tell me to get a combo, so that's that. But I'll see.
Well, right now on Tent and Table, they have their 20 by 20 Weekender High Peak frame tent for
Yeah.
$600.
Oh
And what is it
wow.
usually?
1,300.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well over 1,000. Most
Okay.
of them run 1,000 plus. So
But
for it to be
right
600, that's a really, really good deal.
right now you can buy them two tents
For 12, for less than what you would purchase one on a regular price.
Yeah.
and you've
No,
got a
that's cool.
20 and you've got a 20 by 40. And we rent a 20 by
Yep.
40 for $1,000.
Yeah, wedding people love the 20 by 40s. Corporates love 20 by 40s. So
Yo,
if you're
guys,
gonna
you know
if you're
what's
gonna go
crazy?
for it, do the 20
I
by
didn't
40 or
I
20
didn't
by
even think
20s.
about it yet this year, but like this is the first year I'm going out, and I'm thinking because I said to you guys, I'm like, I'm doing the renovation and everything. Holy shit, I have my own business like bank account. I was thinking about the money for this other thing. I'm like, wait, I just thought about it. It dawned on me. I got the money to buy it. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna talk to my mentor and definitely buy something. I've been itching
Well,
to buy
you
something.
got to be careful with that. You don't ever really want to mix different businesses monies with one
No, no,
another.
no. It's all the I have my own like my Just Jump Around has its own business entity. It's got its own account. And there's money on it. I made money this year. I just didn't
Oh, well
think
then
about
yeah.
it.
Invest
Yeah, I
it.
didn't
That's
even think
called
about it. It was
investing.
like, oh my God, I really own my own business. I can do
Yeah,
it.
there you go. There you go. Yeah, just reinvest it back into the business, and
Yeah.
little by little, it'll just start paying itself off. Eventually, you're not gonna have. You're. The good thing about this business is it's so easy to pay off the so-called debt that you have.
Yep.
Because most times we're paying everything full. Unless you have like your credit cards or your loans or whatever, business loans. But a lot of us are just kind of paying stuff as we go.
Yep.
So there's no real
Debt
debt
free.
into it.
Debt free, but doing it. Yep. I know. I feel you on that. Yeah, no, I'm
Hmm.
gonna talk to the wife about that. Yeah, no. See what's up with that.
And you're talking
Because
about something to buy something, the tent. Just set your tent up in your front yard and people seeing it. They're gonna want that for their party. Like when you set it up
I
good
definitely
big,
think my neighbor will. He's always doing something, little something, something for his little. He's got a little 420 party.
In the trunk.
and you got graduations, you got Halloween, like people do the trunk or
Uh-huh.
treat. We're just now tents right now are picking up more than they have all summer, and I've got every tent going out this weekend.
And you know what, Aaron? That's actually something else that I was going to chime in and say. What I've realized back then, people used to get tents to get away from the sun and get shade. Now, from last year, what I've experienced, most of my tents got rented out to avoid being in the wind, in the cold wind, because later at night, the breeze starts to get colder and everything.
Mm.
People would rather be inside of a tent. And this is also something that you could think about adding if you are going to do tents. Get outdoor heaters, those patio heaters, outdoor heaters, however you want to call them. People will rent them out with the tents. That's why it is very important, if you are going to do this, you have to get those high peak ones, because some of those propane
Yeah.
ones, they're high, unless you get the shorter ones. But then I wouldn't suggest getting the shorter ones just because of kids. They get curious, you know, they people don't like to they don't pay attention to their kids when they're at the party, let's be real. So you want to try to think about it smart to where you have less liability. So the higher it is and the harder it is for any kids or anybody who's going to be curious to put their hands in there and burn themselves, the better. So if you're going to do that, do those outdoor heaters with the high peak tents. They will rent out together.
Is that what a lot of you guys are doing? Like you guys buy those
That's what I did.
often?
I did
Now,
I did that last year and I did it almost like a bundle deal a little bit.
mhm.
I only charged like $25
Heater.
for the outdoor heaters. But then again, I was able to do that because the outdoor heaters that I had, I bought them in the summertime for dirt cheap. 20,
Mhm.
40, $50 from people who just didn't have a use for it anymore, or oh, we used it for a party, now we don't need it, or oh, it needs a the inline needs to be declogged. And you know, you can YouTube stuff like that and fix it yourself, and you have a
I
brand
do
new
have
working
one.
machine.
I did fix one. I just fixed it for the, not for
Yeah,
business, just
you
for
you know, some of them
pleasure.
the gas lines are messed up. All you got to do is buy the hoses and put them where they need to go, and you're done.
Believe
And
it or not, you remember because I do the Home Depot gig. Home Depot they
Ah,
do go
you can. There you
significantly
go.
lower.
You
You
already
just gotta
have an
watch
in.
it.
Yeah, you already have an in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You could watch it. That gazebos, not pop-ups, but like for your house, you can. They have deals all the time. Like you could literally check Home Depot every single day, and there's a deal for the day. I check it religiously.
and
It's like
then
my social media.
and what you get there is you can also them heaters work great, but what you can also use is the gas fire like the fire pits.
Yes, I oh my goodness, Aaron, I literally just thought about this 2 nights ago. I was on Facebook Marketplace. I saw like 6 brand new or almost brand new fire pits. And I was thinking to my man, I'm like, baby, what if I got these? Look, they're selling them for
Now,
25. I can rent them out for 25, $30 because
yep,
these things run over $50, $90, some of them. People don't want to spend that much money just to have it, you know, every once in a while and use it every once in a while. They'd
and
rather
having
spend
that
25 and just use it that one time.
available, that client will book with you versus the company that's got just a tent and they'll
Yes.
be your customer.
Yeah.
Just that heater that you put together, like you're talking about the patio heaters
Yeah. Yeah.
in a tent, just to have that in a tent and the sidewalls. The
Even
sidewalls,
grills, you know, I was thinking about that same thing with grills because my husband was telling me, he's like, man, you know how many times when I was in college I wished I had a grill. 'Cause there's people that, you know, they live in
now
apartments,
what you
they
get,
live
what,
places where they're not allowed to have a fire, a grill, but they
yep,
want to go to a park that doesn't have a grill, or they go to a friend's house or whoever, they don't have a grill. Rent it out for $20, $25.
and what you get there is you go buy you $100 grill
Trying to
and
go Father's Day. Perfect.
There you go.
like
You put the grill together as a package with cornhole, with Jenga, with the little
yep,
basketball hoop, the portable basketball hoops. You got yourself a party package right there.
and you're gonna
A
start that,
fall party package. There you
and
go.
you're not even got to use your bounce house.
And you exactly, you don't even have to use your bounce house.
Mhm. Oh,
Like you're taking stuff that would normally you're gaining more business with the same business and not using the equipment that the business is modeled off of.
And you're using equipment that costs a third of what, or
Yep.
even less than a third of what you're spending on a bounce house.
Rick, they got me sold already. They're salesman,
I just
saleswoman.
really
Oh
love
man, Rick.
how Rosalie was. I just
Yeah.
love how Rosalie
Hey,
and Aaron they are like team tens, and Nick was like, "Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm team tens, but I don't." After tonight,
and
Nick is
He
also
is
gonna be
team
team
tense
ten.
now. He is team tense.
and that 10 by 20 canopy that pop up, one person can do in 10 minutes.
If that.
And what we use them
Huh?
for in the summer is we run a misting hose down the center and call it a misting tent.
Oh.
Sales. This guy.
Oh, my brain's got a million-dollar ideas. If you
Yo,
charge,
you got salt and I'm the snail right now.
You could also run those types through PVC pipes and make like an arc to kind
yep,
of put that over in front of a tent. That way
Mhm.
it stays away from the people. And that way, whenever they're coming in and out, they don't really get wet. But if they want to get, cooled off, or the kids, even the kids love getting wet, but not really wet. And the parents would rather have them play with mist than be soaking wet anyways. So yeah, there's so many possibilities. Like that's something, that whole arc with the PVC and the not the mist, but we were thinking lights. We were thinking, because now that, holiday season is here, we're probably a little bit too late, but we're thinking for next year. I was looking
Mhm.
into getting those
no,
little
it's not too late.
trains
It's
that
not
do
too
that
late.
go around in circles, and you can get the trains, make yourself those arcs, add some lights, whether it's Christmas lights, LED lights, whatever you want to do. Add some of those strobe lights, some fog machines, bubbles, snow, whatever you want to put, depending on what the holiday is. Have just charge for the little train, and then have the whole setup so you can ride through the train under the tunnel, and they get to see the lights, they get to see all of that. I was thinking making a whole like cover that goes on top of the pole, I mean on top of the arcs, and then that way it stays kind of like enclosed. But obviously that's going to have to be something that we're going to have to really really like play around with, and get the blueprints right before we can actually go out and do it. Because God forbid we're out there and the thing tries to fly away, So it's going to be a lot of trial and error, but that's an idea that if anybody else wants to look into, I came up with, something like that. I've seen a couple people doing them, but I've seen them doing it with the inflatable tunnels. Um, but I looked at those inflatable tunnels and they're pretty expensive. They're like $5,000, and the tunnel isn't but like maybe 10 feet long.
That's a
It's
tunnel?
not that big. So I think in my head, the way I played it out, I think for that amount of money, you could make a way longer tunnel out of what I was thinking of, and make it actually worth it. And you can charge people for the rides. Like over here, they have something called Randy's Pumpkin Patch. And if we go talk to them, like, hey, we have a party event rental service company. This is what we do. Would you be willing to partner up and give us a space so that we can do the tunnel stuff? And you guys get a portion of it, or I don't know, but you can always partner up with people who do those types of like festivities, and they're here for a month or however long they're here for. But you can partner up with them, and then that's for sure money for the whole month of October, November, or even December, like those light
Oh.
places.
So,
Mhm.
okay. And then like in another question, like so sometimes I have a carnival every year. Do you think I can partner up with them if that it's either sign, call them up, just like a festival,
Yeah,
or
yeah, that's definitely some way to try to get in.
do they
It
have
the
their only they have their in-house like guys already?
Everybody's different. The worst thing they can say is no. You give them a call,
That's
you
true.
pitch it to them, and if they are open to the idea, then they'll be open to the idea, and they'll ask you more about it and what you have in mind. If they're not open to the idea, the worst they'll say is sorry, we don't do that, or sorry, we're already in partner with someone who does that.
Mhm. Okay.
And tents, if you're asking about tents, Bounce Wave, the inflatable manufacturer, has even got a combo or a bounce house with a tent on the side of it, with a canopy on the side of it. Like, if tents make sense because the bounce houses are even doing it on the inflatables.
Oh, so Bounce Waves has it. So a bounce house with a tent,
With a
inflatable,
yeah, with
MacGyver type
connected
of.
to, I'll share it here in the link or the chat.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
it
Yeah,
can
let's
be a really
see.
cool add-on. By the way, guys, I really wanted to ask you to all of you, um, yeah, we have been talking about how amazing like tents are, and that they can be a really cool add-on. And well, we took someone from Team I don't know to yeah Team Pro Tents, but I really wanted to ask you to all of you, like I know that sometimes like with the bounce houses, you worry about the weather, the wind, like the rain. Do you have like the same like issues with tents? Like do you worry about weather, wind, or any safety issues with tents? Also, like I think Aaron, he was mentioning that the insurance is also cheaper. Like more or less like how much is cheaper than the insurance for a bounce house?
By a third.
Oh wow.
It cuts it to a third because you have to insure the inflatables with a million policy. You get away
Mm-hmm.
with tents with just a general business liability policy.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the anchoring, like when you're doing big carnival and circus tents, they're rated for 100-mile-an-hour winds. So your fear is not, you don't have that fear. Your fabric is rated to withstand 120-mile winds without ripping. Like now it's all in years and age and everything else. But we've got tents that are 20 years old that still look new that we're renting out and setting
And
up.
20 years old?
and honestly, that's where not going cheap is very, very beneficial because with the other tents, they're a lot more easy to break down, rip, all of that good stuff. So if if you're just wanting to make some money so you can make enough money to get to where you want to be, cool. Start off with the small with the cheaper ones. But if you have it already, spend on the expensive ones.
Yeah. Well, like I think Aaron he has some of the expensive ones if they have lasted 20 years.
And is that the
Damn, that's
ABC
crazy.
Canopy
And like
place
whenever
and the
you
other place you guys were
That
talking about?
that is Selena
Mhm.
tent, most of them, an American tent.
Okay. And how much are we looking at those roughly?
It varies. You got to when you catch
Okay.
deals. I mean, like them tents being 20 years old when we
Yeah.
bought
And
them.
well, and when we were talking like about storage, like how much like extra space it takes like to storage like a tent, maybe by the poles, by the tents, because I know like a bounce house you can just roll it in and like from really big it goes like to really really small and you can just like storage it easily. Like is that
When
like how does that change the tents?
you have poles, and they can either be put together or static that are not. They're 7 linear foot, 2 inches around, and then you can get the frame tents. Don't have a center pole like a 20 by 20 high peak tent frame tent. Don't have a pole in the center. It's tension to the peak with cables that go across the corner. We store all the connectors and the cables and everything for the tent in a 27 black and yellow tote, the black and yellow totes that are 27 gallon, and then the poles are 2 inch poles, and you've got roughly 8, 12, 13 poles, I think it is. Hold on,
Hmm.
let me do my math. Yeah, 13 poles to a tent. So I mean, you're 13. You're no bigger than a blower in a bundle. Standing up, you are
Uh-huh.
no bigger than an inflatable blower, and then the tent rolled up is no bigger than a bounce house. Like it'll fit into a 30-gallon garbage can. So you're
Oh,
talking no more,
wow.
not much more space. The stakes, it varies on the stakes, but you're going to have them with anything, inflatables even.
Hmm. Oh, wow.
Pretty much as far as width goes, you're saving space, but height wise, because the poles are long, they're gonna be taller than a rolled up bounce house. So whenever you do, just think about that clearance you're gonna have to deal with. I learned my lesson. I got a shed so that I could start storing all of my products and stuff, and definitely did not think about that. So now I have to buy another shed that's taller so that I can accommodate to those poles, because it's a lot easier dealing with them if they're already standing up versus them laying down. And right now I have to deal with them laying down. So they keep trying to slide out of what we have them in. So just
Rosalie,
think about that.
Rosalie,
Yes,
take
sir.
you a take you a couple of brake rotors and put them in the bottom of a garbage can and use a garbage can to stand them up in, even if it's one of the rollout cans. like you would roll out to the curve, you can buy them at Costco, Amazon, online, and get them delivered to you, and you'd be able to roll that whole pole setup into a trailer.
Hmm. Okay.
Like you'd be able, or even like one of the rectangle garbage cans that you could just slide onto your dolly to move all the poles for that tent. You keep everything in that garbage can for that tent, all the poles.
Yeah, we have it right now. We have it in a garbage can. The problem is that the shed that I purchased is too short. So when we try to put them in standing up, they don't fit. They're too way too tall for the shed that I purchased. So what we've had to do is lay them down. So we lay down the garbage can with the poles and we have them bungee corded together at the end. But obviously the ones in the center, when we try to pull them out and move them and maneuver them and whatever, they try to slip out. So I've looked into it. I'm having to purchase a skinnier shed, more of like one of those tool sheds, but it's taller. So I'm able to put everything in there. And I've already measured like the tallest pole that I have for that 20 by 32, because that's the biggest one that I do have. I've measured the height for that one and it does fit in this shed that I've been looking at. I'm just trying to save up a little bit more because right now, obviously, I don't want to be spending money on something that's not going to make money since we're about to go on off season. So I'm waiting a little bit to buy that shed. But
No bad
that's
words.
that's the only yeah that's the only problem that I have as
What
far as like the poles and everything. It's just the height. They don't fit in the shed that I bought.
what material are your poles?
The biggest one I have is galvanized steel, but the other two, no, two of them are galvanized steel. The 10 by 20 pop up, that one's a cheap material one, but it works for me over here because surprisingly enough, people want to have the shade, they want to have the tent. Obviously,
Right,
they don't
right.
want to pay the money for it. So I have like the cheaper option of, oh, well, we have a few 10 by 20s that we can put together, make it into a 20 by 20 or 10 by 40, however you want to, set them up, but we're able to set it up for you. You want it in an L, we can put them in an L. You feel me? Like it's with those, it's
Yeah.
a little bit easier to maneuver them as far as like space goes. Like we can make them look cool, put them in a T, put them however, however they want. But, you know, that's what's worked for me over here, just because people don't want to pay for the expensive ones.
Mm, wow.
I know. You would think they'd want the real deal thing, but no, they don't. It's crazy. I've seen driving through like streets and neighborhoods. I've seen people renting out tents and they have zip tied them. And this is something that I saw when I went to a birthday party. They zip tied two 10 by 30s together to make it like stick to one and make it into a 20 by 30. It's okay.
Yeah. So guys, seems like we're about like seems like the time is about to finish, but I have some more questions that I would like to add. Like for the ones that are already like on the dance business, like what advice would you give to someone that is like thinking about adding dance? Like right now that we were like imagine that someone comes up to you and is like, "Hey, please give me just like one advice. One advice, should I do it or not?" Like what do you guys reply?
About tents and what
Yeah,
we're talking about, or just in general getting into this business?
no, no, no. In general, about adding things to your inventory.
Oh, get combos. Get combos and don't go too big in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you'll probably have more luck renting out to smaller children than to adults or teenagers, unless it's a water slide or an obstacle course.
Yeah, but would you recommend like to adding any tents?
What I mean, it
I
honestly
think
depends on where you're at. I
with
think
buying
you
them,
would just be better off doing some research and seeing like how often do tents get searched up in your area to see if it's
Mm,
really worth it.
Mm.
But again, you create the need by showing it in the market. And
True.
we have one event that's all they call for is like 10 pop-up tents. And we take out for 10 pop-up tents that we're able to go do in an hour and a half, because they need it for the day. It's almost a relay for
Mhm.
life, but it's the day that they take the kids out to the ballpark there and do different exploring with the kids, that they rent every tent that we've got that's a pop-up.
Yeah,
And
but realistically, and when you're first coming into the business, if I'm just thinking of it as the way that I came into it. I came into it without a team, without like any help really. It was just me and my husband. Now I have a couple people who I can call on if I need extra hands, that's great. But in the beginning, it was just me and my husband, and as far as doing the whole tent stuff, it was hard. It was. But obviously, if you have, like, when you're coming into it, you want to start selling what's already in need, what people are already asking for. You don't want to come into a business and be like, well, now I have to teach people why they need this.
Mm. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, like, yeah, like also as well, she was telling me that tents are like a little bit difficult, like to set up. Uh,
here's my question, Rosalie. How many times you done your 10 by 20 pop-up?
The 10 by 20 has only gone out once this year so far, which I honestly was surprised about because, or maybe I got it too late into the season, but in the beginning of the season, like
It's still
around
gonna
I want to say Easter time, I did get a lot of people asking me for a 10 by 20 because they were doing more smaller events,
yep,
close family friends get-togethers.
spring
But then
spring
once I
in the
got
fall.
it, I'm sorry.
Spring in the fall. That
Exactly.
that
Spring. Yep.
the smaller parties, the backyard, you're just a family hanging out.
Yep.
Kids are in school. In the summer, you've got big family get-togethers. But
Exactly.
if you start with, because getting into bounce houses, the insurance a lot of times is the scariest thing.
Right.
If somebody was to start with 2 or 3 tents and a bounce house, they're able to run that company with them things, and the tents being mostly what, because when you do something, the people in that area will use that because it's new and different. You're not having to teach the customer why they need you. They see what you've got and they want it because they're already doing bounce houses. Well, if you can get into the tents, then when you get into them tents, there are companies out here doing 3 times doing both. But the amount of dealing with the customers that we deal with on the inflatable side, it's a different customer with tents, and your teach they merge together with events. But the tents is a different customer because you're getting a wife for a wedding that wants somewhere for her reception. You are getting somewhere for the graduation, or you are having an occasion under that tent.
Hmm.
Where with the kids, it's just a party, just a backyard, because, or the bounce houses. I've had tents for 50-year-old and six anniversaries and birthday parties. That your market is broader, so you're able to have a bigger market, opening the door to your potential customers for your bounce houses in the future. And it's all in where you start. Tents is a great way to start with a bounce house on the side. A lot of people do bounce houses with tents on the side, but if we do bounce houses on the side with tents, then our aspect is different, because doing them both, think about just the amount of tents it takes for me. There's 100 fireworks tents within an hour drive anywhere I go.
You know what
If
I just thought about, that I have had a couple of women, and this has been mostly women, who have reached out and asked me about are those small 10 by 10s or even smaller. Like I think there's like a 6 by 4 and like 8 by something else. I forgot what it was. But I've been asked for those smaller ones by real estate agents, um, people who have their own like side jobs, as far as oh, I do jewelry, I make handbags, I make, these all these little small things that people sell from home or on Etsy or whatever else, they can, whatever platform else they can sell it on. But they do a lot of those pop-up events, or for example, community events, real estate agents,
Community
brokers and
fairs.
stuff like
Yes.
that. They want to go and promote themselves, but they
Yep.
don't have those tents
Yep.
at hand. So they have reached out to me and asked me if I have those smaller tents so that they can set up their tables, they can set up their
Yep.
products, whatever they're selling.
So,
I don't have them, unfortunately, but it's something I've thought about. But simply because it's only been a few people who have reached out about them, it's not like a consistent
but
demand.
at the same time, if you've got the demand for it, and if it's an investment, like your insurance, you're not going to have to is not going to go up for having that tent sitting there, like you bought your 10 by 20. But
Okay.
here's I'm gonna get to it because I know Rick, we're gonna go over. You can, and I don't have Ray or Lynn in here tonight, but or Lane.
I was
Um,
thinking about Lane, but go ahead.
Yeah.
yeah, but
Last
with
round
Kent,
table, Lane was having dinner.
Tom's
the
not in here either, now that I notice.
Yeah. Yeah, like
the tents, I can set up, like there's a company out of Evansville that does just tents that does $5 million a year. There's a company out of Nashville that does tents that probably does 8 million a year. It's
Wow.
all in your market, but that's big in industrial tents, but they're coming to set them up for, they've got 30 20 by 20 high peaks in their inventory, along with 3 40 by 100. Like
Wow.
at one time, I worked with a guy that when he died, he had over 100 tents in his inventory, and went out and drove states and put up tents every weekend, and he was doing $10 million a year.
Wow.
And his insurance was maybe 10,000 for the year. Like, because he's doing the events that everybody else, he's the first one in and the last one out. The whole event happens because of him. We don't become a part of the party. We are the party. Like, we keep
we are the party.
with Kent. You're hosting the occasion. You're responsible for the shade, and if it's the forecast. Like, we've got companies that the corporate picnics that rent us with our inflatables book the tent for other companies through us. So it's something to find that company that's local or close enough to you to where you can call them, and if you book them enough and work a deal with them suppliers to where you have access to book them. So your customer, you just started out like with that, just getting one contact at a tent company that will service your area. We had a company come from Louisville, and I'm in Western Kentucky. So you're talking 4 hours, roughly 200 miles, 250 miles at most, and set up a 40 by 100. And we made money not touching it. We made like $800 and didn't touch the tent.
Wow, that's impressive.
So subcontracting tents, looking at it to offer it to your site, just going to that company and finding them tents that are out there, and that's not buying the inventory, that's just booking their inventory.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
think
Well,
about that, and they're asking for more work. Like, and that's a great place to go find you employees, is companies that have got the hard work like we do. Event rentals a tough game, ain't for everybody, because we are the events. We don't get to have our events, so we set up for everybody else's. We have to have that crew that we're asking to take that holiday weekend and go work all weekend.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
But like fireworks tents that are set up for maybe 6 weeks, if you get 5 years out of a tent, the way I would set up a tent is the first year would pay for it. For
Mm-hmm.
6 weeks, I would rent it for a fireworks tent. Like for a 20 by 40 that sat for, it may not be maybe 5 weeks. Sat for $1,000 a week, it made $5,000. Well, that tent only cost me $4,800. So I made money. But it paid for itself, and I just needed to go out for another weekend at 1,000. And that 20 by 40 goes out for $1,000 for a weekend. But if you rent it at 1,000 a week for a fireworks tent, and if you've got 10 of them, you're making that 50 grand, and you add 2 a year to it. You spend that 10 grand a year to make money on it.
Mm. That's really interesting.
Yeah,
So, guys, seems like we made it till the end of this roundtable. Thank you so much for being with me tonight. I really appreciate it. Everybody have a lovely night. And my name is Rick, and I was your host tonight. So, see you next week. Bye bye, guys. Have a great one.
Night, Rick. Night, guy.
night later.